It is day 16 of the New York versus Trump trial, and now even some in the mainstream media are casting doubt about whether there's even a case to be made. CNN host Fareed Zakaria admits he thinks the case is politically motivated.
The trials against him keep him in the spotlight, infuriate his base, who sees him as a martyr, and even may serve to make him the object of some sympathy among people in general who believe that his prosecutors are politically motivated. This happens to be true, in my opinion. I doubt the New York indictment would have been brought against a defendant whose name was not Donald Trump.
That sentiment being echoed by former President Trump himself this morning on his way into court.
This trial is rigged. It's dishonest. It's a disgrace to New York. It's a disgrace to the country. I should be out campaigning now instead of sitting in a very cold courthouse all day long. This is a Biden prosecution. It's election interference at a level that nobody in this country has ever seen before. This is for third world countries, not for the USA.
Kayleigh, President Trump is right and Fareed is right.
Yeah, Fareed Zakaria, I mean, what was in your coffee this weekend or your drinking water? Because it wasn't just this issue. I have some of his quotes in front of me. He talks about Trump leading in almost every single swing state. I understand the polls are not always accurate, but they tend to underestimate Donald Trump's support. Then he moves on to immigration, where he talks about the need to go back to the old asylum policy. And Margaret Hoover, I believe that's who it was, spoke up and said, that sounds like the Trump policies, and he doubles down. Yes, exactly. So I don't know if he woke up. I don't know if the New York Times Siena polling scared him or some of the polling he saw. This is a very different Fareed Zakaria. Not only that, Ellie Honig, legal analyst on their network, said, I don't think this case, you get a conviction in any Democratic, in any district that was not a Democratic district. Paraphrasing him there. But the point is, people are waking up. They're seeing the polls. They're seeing that there's no evidence here, and they're forced to admit the truth.
So, Sean, is this a canary in a coal mine? And will the rest of people see through the lens of common sense what we've been saying all along?
Right. We got to give kudos to Fareed, but it's taken him a long time to come to this conclusion, right? We're, multiple weeks into this trial. So, but it's a dam breaking, right? So who else is going to come out and call this for what it is? This is a sham trial. This is politically motivated. It would only happen to someone by the name of Donald Trump. And what does this say about their support of Joe Biden, right? He's failing in the polls. Kayleigh pointed that out. Are they starting to bail on him? Are they still looking to the convention to find a new candidate? And when you see these kind of breaks, it begs that question. So
do you think, Carly, that it will impact that now if we're seeing, let's say, these harbingers of this common sense pulling through, well, is there in fact a groundswell of support for President Trump being reflected in the polls, not just in those that were committed to him to begin with, but all of those in the middle and all of those on the side also?
Yeah, it certainly could. And I mean, the people who are watching Fareed Zakaria's show, I mean, they are no fans of Donald Trump. And when you start to hear him say these things, he could really have influence over the minds of those voters or even independent voters who are tuning into CNN to hear what he has to say. He's one of the most anti-Trump TV personalities, and for him to say that Donald Trump is getting a politically motivated raw deal is very notable. And that comment was made over the larger point in his monologue that Democrats are right now divided because of the Israel-Gaza war, and a lot of Republicans are rallying around Donald Trump, unity in the Republican Party. Now more so than other times. How did we start the show? By seeing all these Republicans speaking out for Donald Trump, in support of him downtown New York right now. And that's really important because those people are under a gag order. So they're going to say things that Donald Trump cannot.
But Harris, let's bring it back into that cold courtroom. Because at the end of the day, all that matters for this trial is what the jurors think. And do you think that they will see that this indeed is politically motivated?
Well, look, if they really cared about what the jurors thought, the prosecution, maybe they ought to stop talking about a case that doesn't matter. Karen Dougal, I just checked my phone. I have pages of emails about them talking about the former Playboy bunny with the catch and kill story that has nothing to do with this. Right. And how they couldn't even say the AMI / National Enquirer David Pecker's name in documents, Cohen, because, you know, he was trying to get a gig as a CEO at Time Inc. But he was the person at the heart of that deal with Karen McDougal. I mean, it just boggles the mind. So I don't know how much it matters to the prosecution. But based on what Kayleigh said, this becomes a political issue for everybody. Because what are your options? You're gonna try to get this judge, who now I understand is under investigation for that's being reported, for maybe having some conversations, Judge Marchand, that he should not have had. about a different case. And so do they want him to dismiss it? I don't think he'd do that. Do they want him to declare a mistrial? He's already said no to 2 requests by the Trump defense. It's getting dicey, where the story on the sideline, Fonnie Willis, the story on the sideline starts to get bigger than the one in the courtroom. This is why for 6 years nobody touched this case. This is why the feds didn't touch this case. This case is a loser. But we'll see what the jury says, because that's who matters.
The House of Cards. Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.